All right, welcome to the Gravity Cancel podcast, hosted by Sergeant Spank Cakes and Rocks. This is episode 2. How you doing, Rocks?
I am doing fantastic.
Well, we've finally launched. Feels like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we officially have a Twitter. We have it on Spotify, a couple other places that Spreaker lets me post to, and YouTube.
What is Spreaker, anyways? I haven't heard of that.
So essentially, in order to post a podcast, you have to make something called like an RSS feed. You essentially Spreaker's the website that you upload it to, and then you just press OK. I want to send it to this website, this website, this website, this website. If that makes sense.
Catch-all. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the host. That's the easiest way to describe it.
Well, for anyone wanting to start a podcast, there's how you do it. You just record your voice a little bit, go to Spreaker, and you're set. Easy as that.
Pretty easy.
So how you been? How you been, Rocks?
Pretty good. I'm pretty sad about the spear nerf. Not gonna lie.
It feels rough.
Can't tell you how many side airs I've hit with my spear.
Yeah, there were a lot of changes to this patch that I'm not too happy about. The spear nerf does hurt. And,
well, since that's probably going to be the biggest topic, do you want to start with the patch notes?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about patch notes. Do you happen to have any patch notes open so you can reference those?
I'll pull them up right now.
All right. Well, I want to start with these balance notes here. So the one thing that really struck out to me, there were a lot of nerfs across the board. Yet there was only one thing under sword, and it said, sword neutral air now deals slightly more damage given its role as a proactive anti-air. They upped sword neutral air damage from 15 to 16. No nerfs.
It's kind of shocking sword didn't get at least a little bit of a nerf, because it's like, I mean, I've brought it up before. I think I talked about it last podcast, but sword's just like that staple weapon that everyone will default to in those higher tier players if they're not doing too hot on, you know, whatever the current meta is, or like who their main is. They'll always default to like a Bodvar or a Val, just because sword is very in your face. And there's not really a downside to using sword, so I'm kind of shocked that it didn't get at least a little bit of a nerf, considering the massacre that was this these patch notes.
It seems like everywhere you look across the board on BCX tournament results, everyone, or not everyone, a lot of people were using sword legends. So it leads me to believe that sword's just in a very good spot anyways. So to see any change, and that change being a buff, is really surprising to me. The flavor of this balance patch, for the most part, was changing recovery on a lot of attacks, and in most cases, making recovery worse, which, looking across the board, a lot of it just seems unnecessary to me. I'm not a big fan of this patch.
Me either, just because, well, actually, you know, playing Gauntlets, I feel like Gauntlets didn't get hit too hard, but I feel like I just can't play Spear anymore. Like, it just feels just slightly enough off that I just can't play it.
And that's due to the Sair?
Yeah, and then let's look at everything that Spear got.
Yeah, so speaking of Sair, the side air, increased recovery time on miss from 0 fixed to 33 variable to 3 fixed 33 variable. So they didn't change the variable recovery, they just changed the fixed recovery, which I really don't know what that means, to be honest.
Well, I looked at someone, I wish I had their name in front of me, but someone on the Brawlhalla subreddit posted before and afters of the hitboxes. And the hitbox is so tiny compared to what it used to be. And the biggest thing is specifically whenever you're coming out of side light, down light into that side air, that jump side air, that classic spear move, that hitbox that the opponent would normally fall in is smaller, so it's harder to hit.
And probably more damage dependent in that case.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they changed Spear Downlight. They increased the recovery time. So a lot of these changes, I mean, if you are sniping people and completely accurate, you're not going to feel the difference. But for those of us that miss a lot, myself included, the difference is very noticeable.
Absolutely.
The other change, I like this buff a lot, and I haven't really abused it, but they increased the damage on the recovery for Spear from 16 to 18, which Spear recovery is very dominant anyways.
Actually, if you, I'm guessing this clip will actually probably be what we use on our YouTube channel for this this podcast specifically. But whenever I was playing against Rayman, I double recovered him, and he was pretty low health. I mean, or pretty high health, and I just knocked him up off the screen. The recovery feels really good.
Yeah, for such a good recovery, it's surprising to see that buff. I need to play more to see how this patch plays out, but there's some weird changes. Let's just go down the list of weapons. So bow, what did they do to the bow? They decreased damage on neutral light, decreased damage on neutral air, and decreased increased bow down air recovery time. How do you feel about those?
I'm kind of shocked that bow got hit because bow's not really super meta, and other than that, like, I'm not really afraid of playing bow players, except there's two things that kind of freak me out about playing bow. The standard like bow combo, which I don't really know because I don't play bow, but you know which one I'm talking about.
Side light, down light, and then follow up.
Yeah, that one.
Neutral light or.
Other than that, and people who play Diana and spam the signatures, that's like all that ever bothers me on bows. I'm surprised that it got hit. And they also decreased the stun on the neutral light from 23 to 20.
Oh, I didn't see that part of it. They increased recovery time on neutral air. So the neutral light's an interesting attack. It's kind of hard to hit. It does hit stacked, and it's more of an anti-air attack than anything. So, and it's also the follow-up to that cookie cutter combo with bow. So I kind of get it. I think bow was in a pretty good spot before, maybe a little bit too strong. So I think this change probably takes it more in line with where it should be.
Okay, I can see that. Which I don't. My elo doesn't put me against a bunch of bow players, and I don't play bow myself, so you know a lot more about it than I do.
Yeah, bow is underutilized, I think. Other than the spacing on it, which is weird, it's a very good weapon. There's a lot of combos that hit at various health points, various health colors. So I think it's underutilized compared to other weapons.
That's fair.
That takes us to Gauntlet next, one of your favorites.
Oh.
And similar to bow for me, I'm not versed in Gauntlet play, so you'll have to talk about this one.
So they decreased the damage from 13 to 11 on the downlight, which is, I'm not going to lie, I got a little bit of heart pain on that one. And then increased recovery time on miss from 3 fixed 16 variable to 5 fixed 16 variable, which also I feel like gauntlets just need a buff.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna buff anything, just keep buffing gauntlets. Nerf everything. Take Lance out of the game. Buff gauntlets.
I wouldn't say keep buffing them.
Keep buffing them.
Buff them a little bit.
Every patch.
I feel like they're a knowledge check almost for newer players, and once you figure them out, it's pretty easy to counter.
Yeah, and that's one of those. There's a pretty big skill gap in a pretty versed Gauntlet player versus a non-versed Gauntlet player, because Gauntlets do have pretty cookie cutter combos, but when Gauntlets really shine is whenever you play really passive and you play a lot above ground instead of being on the ground. Whenever you it's the best weapon to punish people for the most part, in my opinion. One of the best weapons. So you're not necessarily focusing on combos as much as you are just quick punishes.
Yeah. So that changed with Downlight. Downlight was a combo opener, right? You use the Downlight into Sidelight to open?
You could do that. You could do Downlight into Neutral Light and then kind of go off from there. But it is it's a really good opener because it has really good stun.
Good stun and good range too. So that increased recovery time on that really hurts it, because if you miss, you're probably gonna get punished.
Oh, absolutely. That I experience that quite often.
Well, I experienced that with Hammer quite often too, and looks like we got nerfs on Hammer as well.
Tell me about them.
So Neutral Light, that's that like little 3-hit combo. Increased time to hit from 5 to 6, and increased recovery time on miss from 2 fixed 13 variable to 5 fixed 13 variable. Neutral Light it's a really good attack. You have to be very close to hit them, but if you hit them with it, you can follow up with a variety of combo paths or string paths, whatever you want to call them. And then they also changed Neutral Air, slightly reduced maximum top, front, and rear threat coverage. So they basically reduced the overall hitbox of Neutral Air, which is one of your best attacks whenever people are coming from above. And that really hurts my Yumiko, because if I can't attack someone that's coming from the top outside of my orbs, I'm in a world of hurt if they hit me.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because you set up with the orbs and then you go for that neutral attack, and then if you miss it, I see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and then I also use, so I'll like use the orbs on the front side, and then if I see them falling to the back side, I'll do like a reverse Neutral Air and try to hit them with that. So not being able to do that with the same amount of coverage, it hurts a bit. It hurts a bit. But I'm not really a true Hammer player. I play Hammer because Yumiko has it.
All right. Well, I know you're not super into Hammer, but I know a weapon you are super into is going to be Katars. So tell me a little bit about the Katar changes.
Oh, this one hurts. This one hurts bad, man. Sidelight increased recovery time on miss from 2 fixed 13 or 16 variable to 4 fixed 16 variable. So a very common approach to the Katar is the Sidelight, and I miss those a lot. Probably because I'm just throwing it out there hoping I hit. And then that Sidelight's what leads into the Vortex half pipe combo. So if I miss that and can't follow up and get punished with it, it's gonna hurt. They also increased the time to hit on Downlight, which is one other third of the Vortex combo. They increased the time to hit from 5 to 6 and increased cooldown on miss from 22 to 25. So I will say I did feel a difference in Katars today when I was playing it. Today was the first day I've played since the patch. So I'm not sure how I feel about my Katar life going forward. Am I going to stick with it? I don't know.
I am. I'm always satisfied with a Katar nerf because let's be honest. The Vortex is a little OP, and
it is, but it's only OP at like mid to low gold. Once you get into higher gold, people dodge out of it.
Well, that's fair, but if it's something that absolutely destroys the newbies. If that makes sense at all. If like newbies just can't get out of it. That's fair. That's also fair. All right, on to the orb.
This one's for you, man. I don't have any opinions on orb. Well, no, hold on. Let's go back to Katar really quick. Katar is one of those string weapons that it needs to lean heavily, because it doesn't have the range. It doesn't hit hard. It leans heavily on being able to follow up. So if you nerf its ability to follow up on whiff, it's gonna hurt it too much. And then you buff something like sword. I just don't get it, man.
Yeah, the thing about Katars is it doesn't really have a place in the meta currently. Like name 2 Katar legends that are played at higher tier gameplay.
Even Asuri's not used, and she's got sword, so
That is a very good point. The staple weapon sword, the Qatar legend that has a sword, doesn't get used.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm not playing at high enough level, but anyways, I'm sure I'm gonna vent ad nauseum about Qatar nerfs. So let's get on to these. Let's get on to these orb nerfs.
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe orb got nerfed. And here's why. Nobody uses it. It's very underutilized. It's never abused. The only time that you've seen someone go off with it is anytime that you see Sandstorm use Fate.
Fate, yeah.
But even then, I mean, he's just built different with his Fate.
Well, it's also the scythe that shines there. It's not really the orb.
Yeah, it's not even really the orb.
A supporting role, essentially.
Yeah. And so starting with the nerfs, you've got orb neutral air decreased stun from 24 to 21. The biggest one, though, in my opinion, is going to be the side air. Increased recovery time on miss from 2 fixed 26 variable to 5 fixed 26 variable. Orb side air was already kind of hard to hit. Not really. I mean, Axe is obviously a lot easier to hit than the orb, but just the fact that orb got touched in general, I mean, it's one of the hardest harder side airs to hit. And then the orb down air, I'm extremely shocked that this got touched. The increased recovery time from 2 fixed 20 variable to 4 fixed 20 variable for the aerial version, and then 1 fixed 18 variable to 3 fixed 18 variable for the ground and wall versions. And then decreased damage from 18 to 17. That's like, the funny thing about that is people that like me that can't really play orb, you rely on that so much because it's so easy to hit. So I kind of get why it got nerfed, but at the end of the day, nobody was cleaning house with orb. Like, orb is not a crutch weapon, unlike the next weapon we're going to be talking about.
Rocket Lance. I think we can both just agree to nerf Rocket Lance into the ground. I can't think of a weapon that I enjoy less playing against than Rocket Lance, and I really don't even enjoy playing it. It's not a fun weapon to play.
Here's how you know it's bad for the game. Whenever I play a sword legend or a spear, like play against a sword legend or a spear legend or a gauntlet legend, or even a hammer legend, which is straddling the line, I don't change my play style that much. Like I'll adapt to the weapon I'm playing against. But Lance, you have to completely change the way you play.
See, and
to overcome Lance.
That's why I think I would like that weapon, because I like a play style for myself that causes people to play outside of their comfort zone. That's why I like playing Yumiko. That's why I like playing a very awkward passive game, because it changes how people play. And that's why I thought I would like Rocket Lance, but nothing about the weapon is fun.
It's not fun to use. I mean, unless you're the type of person that just like really enjoys frustrating the people that you play, because it's so here's the thing. It's huge. It does a ton of damage, and it's not slow. It is fast. It's like, it's people who rely on Lance. I mean, more power to them, but I'm not going to talk mad crap about them. But it's like whenever I went to Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments back in college, and someone played an anti-meta deck, and your eyes just roll, and you give a big sigh because you know it's going to take twice as long, and it's just going to be frustrating. You know you're going to win, but it's like you got to put even more effort in, just because what it is.
Even with all those talks of us wanting to nerf it in the ground, guess what they do? They go and buff it.
Yep.
They make neutral air, which is one of the most obnoxious Lance attacks, stronger. You decrease the recovery time. Granted, it's a small change. They change from 1 fixed 12 variable to 0 fixed 10 variable on the frames, and then they increase stun from a range of 30 to 26 to a range of 31 to 27. But getting stunned by that just opens up all sorts of follow-up attacks now. And I'm dreading the first person I face that's actually taking the time to figure out follow-ups to that.
I'm pretty sure whoever made the decision on the Rocket Lance patch notes here, I'm pretty sure they only work part-time at Blue Mammoth because they work full-time at Bungie, because this is the most Bungie thing I've ever seen. Listen, I'm going to go off on a very quick tangent.
Go for it.
So, long story short, Bungie in November gave us a new subclass called Stasis, where you have ice powers. It was extremely overpowered. Reason being is because you had to buy the expansion to use it. So if you bring it into PvP and someone doesn't have the expansion, they can't use it. So what are they going to do? They're going to go pay for the expansion to have the newest broken thing, right? Well, everyone bought the expansion, and then everyone is using this ice power that's just busted beyond belief. And then finally they slowly nerf it to where everyone's like, we still wish you would remove it from PvP, but it is now tolerable. Do you know what they did with the new season that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago? They buffed it.
Of course they did.
I don't know if you heard me slap my desk just now, but they buffed it. And everyone is just like, why would you do this? But that's my small tangent. That's all I'm going to say about it.
The only thing I'll say about the Rocket Lance change is that it probably inspires me a little bit to try it out. So I apologize for any 2v2s we play in the future where I'm trying Rocket Lance out.
Ugh, disgusting.
And then we've already talked about Spear a little bit, and then Sword only got a buff. I think that covers all the weapons.
Yeah. I don't necessarily want to go through all of the legend
I would agree with
fixes
that.
because they're not very interesting.
The only thing that really stuck out to me a little bit, and it's kind of weird, the only change they made to Lin Fei was increasing the size of her visual effects. So they really didn't make a buff, they just made it easier to see what's happening. And I feel like Lin Fei could do with a buff.
Absolutely. I mean, she's like, bottom 3 legends would be Lin Fei, Jiro, and I don't know, maybe
I can only think of those two, to be quite honest.
Hold on, let me pull the game up. I've got it pulled up here. Sentinel.
And I don't think Sentinel's that weak. I think there's a pretty sizable gap between Sentinel and then Jiro and Lin Fei.
I forgot all about Isaiah. Isaiah's garbage, too.
Yeah, Isaiah is pretty bad. And he's got 2 hard weapons to use. I mean, blasters and cannon are both pretty difficult to use comparatively to other weapons.
Which realistically, though, one of the good things about this game is that anything can be meta if you want it to be. Like, I've played people who play Isaiah, Lin Fei, and Jiro who have absolutely destroyed me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think Lin Fei could have done with a much bigger buff other than just, hey, we made her visuals bigger. So the only other things that I think I want to talk about in the patch notes, they also added some items to Brawlhalla. Speaking of Lin Fei, they also added a new skin for her, Wing Queen Lin Fei, another mask skin, but it's a pretty bland skin in my opinion.
First of all, I need you to check your lane because she looks just like Kakashi from Naruto. So it's pretty cool looking skin.
You'll find out I know zero about anime.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
I don't know.
Welcome to the Gravity Cancel or the Sergeant Spankcake's canceled podcast where we're talking about Sergeant Spankcake's poor life decisions. Anyway, back to the skin. It is kind of interesting that they picked one of the least played legends to add a skin to.
Yeah, you'd think you'd pair it with a bigger buff than making her explosions bigger, but whatever. I mean, the katars are cool. The cannon really doesn't match the aesthetic. And then they made like little cutouts for her knees and her outfit. It's weird. It's just weird.
Now, the Orion skin, on the other hand, I like a lot. It is clean.
I am mad that is an Orion skin.
Listen, I did the same thing. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, what legend is that?" I was like, "I'm buying it immediately," and then I was like, "Oh, it's Orion." Oh,
No, yeah, I'm not buying that one. I will say that the spear on it is.
oh my god. Do you have it? Do you have the game pulled up?
I do.
And I apologize for all the audio listeners, and well, I guess even the video listeners, because the video is just gameplay. But pull up the image render tool and look at him with the esports V2 with that skin.
Oh yeah, I can't look at that in game, can I?
Oh yeah, you have to go to the if you're on the main menu, hit the wrench button, then go to image render tool.
All right, we got Orion, and I think we need to probably make this the image on the YouTube page for this.
Oh, like the thumbnail?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is nasty.
That's clean. And then the weapons on this skin are so good.
100%.
The spear on it. Oh. There's I think a Wushang skin, the Jin Wukong skin
would look fantastic with it.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the lance on it, but we don't care about lance anyways.
That's true. We're not Lance players. Not in these households.
Then they also added a Neon Xiao sidekick. Pretty cool sidekick. Nothing much to say there.
It is adorable, and it makes me so the color scheme I'm not crazy about. Which makes me wish that we had a way to change the colors of apply all of the different colors we have, like home, team, and Halloween, to our sidekicks. That would be awesome.
Yeah, if it followed suit with whatever color you pick.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Blue Mammoth, get it in the game.
Put it in the game. We're predicting it now. This is May 23rd of 2021. This will be a quality of life update in the future.
By the end of the year.
By the end of the year.
And then the other things that they added a card shuffling emote. It's
Pretty
a cool emote. I'm not mad about it. I think you could come up with some pretty cool thematic skins with it, like with the cross. What is it? The double cross where he has got the card in his hat.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like a Western one. That would be cool. That would be really cool. And then they also added a couple flags. Serbia, Palestine, Colombia, Jordan, and Lebanon.
I'm always excited when they add new flags to the game.
Yeah,
especially new country flags, just because it's cool that you can first of all, it's good representation. You get to rep your own country, but also it's kind of cool whenever you match somebody and they've got a Serbian flag or Colombia, and you're like, oh, cool. Maybe you're not necessarily playing somebody who's currently located there, but maybe their heritage is from there. It's always interesting.
I do like seeing those smaller countries that don't get a lot of representation. Even if it's just a game or two, it's cool to know that I'm playing with someone from halfway across the world.
Absolutely.
So I think that's pretty much it for the patch. Some good, some bad there. BCX 2021 finally wrapped up. Did you happen to watch any of the North American? Well, we played in that one. We'll talk about that one a little bit. But did you watch any South American, Australia, any of that?
Unfortunately, I was a little busy at the time. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of it.
Yeah, I was working pretty much like every weekend, so I didn't get to catch any of it. I do want to say that I had a ton of fun in the tournament.
Oh, absolutely. We did better than we thought we would.
Oh yeah, was that your first BCX?
No, I've played doubles, yes.
Yeah.
But singles is usually I think singles has always been for me the one or two times that I've done it, lost the first round, and then the next 6 are all DQs for people that didn't show up, and then I get destroyed when I finally match somebody that's actually there. But we actually had a good turnout. We didn't have a single DQ, which was kind of shocking.
It was funny because when we were getting warmed up, you were like warning me about people just DQing, and I'm having flashbacks to IGL, and a little bit of PTSD. I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna get a play today. But all of our opponents showed up, and like showed up on time, really fast.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much instant. A lot of the times you have to wait on them to check in, and usually that takes 5 or 10 minutes per match. But they were all pretty much instant.
Yeah, and I know you didn't see it on your end, but I had some fun banter with a couple of the players in chat, because Smash.gg has like a little chat feature, so you can talk to your opponent about are you ready or whatever. But we had a little bit of banter going back and forth. It's kind of fun.
I was going to say, you want to talk about our matches?
Yeah, I do want to talk about our matches a little bit. So I played Nai, I think every match, right?
Yeah, and did I play Petra?
You played Petra most. You played a little bit of Hattori.
That's right. I do remember playing a lot of Hattori.
And I think you might have played Brynn like one match.
And then I immediately put her back in the suitcase and said, "Sorry, Brynn. I'll catch you in the casual playlist."
So we ended up going 3-2. It was we won our first game, lost our second, won third and fourth, and then lost our fifth game, and that knocked us out of bracket. That puts us at 257th out of like, I don't know. There's a bunch of people that got 257th. I think there were like 1,100 teams that signed up, but we had a 60% win rate on sets. And then both of the teams we lost to placed 65th with records of 6-2 and 3-2. So I'm very pleased with our performance.
Yeah, I feel like the guys who beat us rightfully so, and unlike some of those IGL matches we've had playing against people who may or may not play Zol, I felt like we earned those losses and we did it gracefully.
Yeah, I was surprised with how easy a couple of the wins were. I think it was our fourth game. We completely dominated that game, and I went into the fifth game feeling so good about our performance. And then that last game, they just crushed us.
Yeah. We were also I don't think there were too many notable people in the bracket with us other than little Captain Ithro.
Yeah, and then they got knocked out, right?
Yeah, they got in that first bracket. They got put in the losers bracket by Balloon Boy and Milk.
Milk. How was that spelled?
MELK.
Milk.
Milk.
Oh, let's talk about who knocked us out. We got knocked out we got knocked out in the first bracket by Peko.
Yep.
And who was his teammate? Oh, Peko, Corinne, and Chin. And then what a group of people, man. And then Scobie and Pumpy knocked us out of losers round 4, so they knocked us out of the bracket. And Scobie and Pumpy, their names sound like professional Brawlhalla players.
They got so when they went to the losers bracket, they played Little Captain Ithro and lost.
Oh, really? So and that was right after us, right?
Yeah, they let's see here. I'm trying to find it on the bracket here. Give me uno momento.
Oh no, they played a couple more.
Oh, they played Balloon Boy and Milk, and that's when they lost. And then they played us, and then they breezed through the next 3 matches, and then they played Little Captain Ithro.
Well,
which the most shocking thing is Little Captain Ithro came in like 30-some place. Like 33rd place. Which is kind of shocking because they used to be top 10 every tournament that I used to watch.
Stranger things have happened. So, how do you think we'll do come Summer Championship?
Here's what I predict. I predict us going all the way to in our first bracket, we're going to go to winner's semifinal, and we're going to lose to actual pros.
You think we're going to make the winner's semi?
Yep.
How many matches do you have to win to get to the winner's semi? Is that like?
Oh, I'm talking the first bracket that we're in.
Yeah. But.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. You
Well,
win 5.
well, you have to win 4, and then that's the 5th match.
And you think we're gonna make it all the way? You think we're gonna win 4 and then lose to like legit people?
Yep, and I'm predicting now that we're going to be in the same bracket as Boomy and Sandstorm. Predicting it now. Calling it.
Oh man, how cool would it be to play Boomy and Sandstorm?
I would be able to, after that happened, I'd be able to just leave this earth at any moment. Life would be complete.
I don't want to experience it, but I want to look back on it.
I would love it.
So Summer Championship begins August 14th. I don't know what week the North American tournament is. Are you going to play in 1s or just 2s?
Well, 1s is on Saturdays, right?
Yeah, typically.
Not 100% sure if I'll be able to do 1s. I'd like to, but I care more about 2s because it's a little bit more fun.
It's so much more fun interacting with someone else and experiencing the tournament with someone else.
Exactly. And then if I lose, I can blame it on you. But if I lose singles, I only have myself to blame. That's listen, I'm 100% serious. That's why I focused when I played tennis in high school and college. I focused on playing doubles because if I lost, I could blame my teammate. And singles, if I lost, I could only blame myself.
You were a tennis player, huh?
Oh yeah.
How good were you? Were like state championship worthy, or?
Maybe 3rd in state junior year. Maybe disqualified from playing state senior year. I don't like to talk about it.
I can't wait to hear that off air. I never really played much tennis. I'll tell you what was fun was pickleball. Did you ever play pickleball?
Is that that's the sport where you play with the little
like
slightly larger than ping pong paddles, and you're playing on the little baby tennis courts.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, by the time I got interested in tennis, I was too old to play on the pickleball courts.
Pickleball is an old person sport. I see that.
That was a subtle roast.
I think you're older than me. Anywho.
Wait, no, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
How old are you?
I was born in '94.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
You liar.
Oh my god.
What, 84?
All right, off air, I'm sending you a picture of my license.
All right, fair. So Summer Championship, August 14th, 75K prize pool. We probably won't be seeing any of that, but it's there. They also announced a couple of other tournaments over the last 2 weeks or so. The Parsec Invitational is going down. Europe June 5th and North America June 6th with a 20K prize pool. That is a strictly invitational tournament, so you're going to see the best of the best there.
So you can expect us there.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't responded to my invitation yet, but we'll get there. Viewership rewards for that: Parsec Avatar, Golf Clap Emote, and V1 Esports Colors. What's that? V1?
V1 is the like the orange cyan one that we've been used to. The V2 is that red one.
Yeah, the V1 I'm a big fan of, but that V2 color, that is clean.
I mean, it's just like they took the red team and was like, let's make it better.
Just put a little bit of gold on it. It's a cross between red team color and like home team color.
Yeah. Home team's one of my OG favorites for sure, though.
Oh, home team's so clean. So that V2 Esports color is going to be available during the Brawlhalla Pro Series, which is going to run throughout July. I didn't see very many details on this, but you'll be able to get those as viewership rewards during the Pro Series. I'm going to have to start watching more of these tournaments because I am so out of touch with the larger Brawlhalla community.
Oh, you need to. They're an absolute blast. Just listening to Foda freak out over the smallest things. Like, man lands a Sayer with an axe, and Foda acts like this man just committed a cardinal sin.
You know,
TK Breezy's always a blast to listen to. There's not a caster that isn't a blast to listen to.
See, I don't know any of these casters. What we should do is We should like do a watch party on your stream.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea at all.
I think that would be a really fun. We'll do a couple of giveaways. We'll not commentate, but we'll comment on what's going on. We'll leave the actual commentating to the professionals, but I think that'd be really fun.
I agree. That'd be a blast.
You guys are gonna hear my keyboard a little bit. Sorry about that, viewers. I promise I'll get a quieter keyboard at some point in time. So yeah, there's plenty of tournaments coming up. I highly recommend anyone who hasn't played in a tournament to enter BCX. It was a very pleasant experience. I was very hesitant at first because Smash.gg is not a very friendly looking site until you actually get into the tournament. And then I thought the experience with Smash.gg was great.
It is kind of a confusing website to use. Even still, like looking up like old stats and stuff is a little complicated. Not the friendliest website to use, but it's all about the experience. I know the first time that I played in a tournament, I thought it was the biggest deal, and excuse me, I lost my first match and then lost my second match, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. I was just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. Do you get tournament nerves?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Because I have no expectation of winning.
Oh, so you're like, if I win, it's great. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, yeah, I have no expectation of winning. I have no expectation of making top 64. I mean, considering I can't even get to platinum right now without a 2v2 partner.
We'll get it this season. We'll get it.
We'll get it this season.
I get pretty bad tournament nerves, especially like the first game. Like that first game, my heart was racing, and I don't think it impacts my performance at all. But just like that jitteriness, it feels so good. Like just knowing that I'm playing something outside of just a ranked match or experimental. Just something that's we're both trying our hardest. You're not going into a tournament and not trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, to any viewers out there that haven't played, I highly recommend it. It is so fun.
The best part is whenever I go in with like nerves of steel, and then if I play someone who's a higher rank than me, especially like a diamond, and I get an upper hand on them, I'm just thinking about how it's probably because they're nervous and then I'm not, which makes me play better. Just that mentality of knowing that, oh, they're playing bad because they don't want to lose.
It's so funny you mentioned that because you mention it more than I do in ranked. You'll call out people's borders. You're like, oh, this is a diamond player. Oh, this is a platinum player. And that's just stuff that I don't pay attention to or let affect me. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it impacts you on a psychological level slightly.
100%. 100%.
And
I feel attacked for you bringing that up, by the way.
No, it's a good thing to recognize. I think what impacts me more is their name. If someone's just got a completely trollish name, I assume they're going to completely slap me and just add insult to injury that they beat me with, like, some absurd name.
You got to watch out for those clan names, too.
Oh, clan names are good. Speaking of clan names, we just started the Gravity Canceled Podcast Clan.
We did.
I don't have any plans for it yet. If anyone wants to join, let me know. I'll add you to my friends list, and you can join it. But maybe we'll do like giveaways or something to clan members.
Ooh, that'd be really fun. That'd be really fun to do.
Are there any real benefits to clans in Brawlhalla? I've never.
I don't think so. I don't think they really do anything. I mean, you can level up your clan, but I don't think it gives you anything.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have like actual clan rewards in game. You get if you get your clan to level 20 or whatever, you get a title or a specific set of colors. Oh, that'd be so cool. BMG, they just start listening to our podcast, and we'll give you all sorts of great ideas.
Speaking of BMG, should we get on to the topic of the week that we have set aside?
I think so. What do we like and dislike about Brawlhalla? So let's each give one thing we like, and we'll just go down the list. I think I have like 4 likes and 4 dislikes, but
so
what you like.
I'm just
about
going to freestyle it.
Okay.
So, number one thing that I like, the dev team. The dev team is so awesome and so dedicated. Like, they genuinely love working on Brawlhalla. It's just the energy of the dev streams and just watching them on Twitter and stuff. It's fantastic. The dev team is awesome.
It shows. It definitely shows how much they care about their product. And this game, it started out pretty indie, right? Until Ubisoft got involved.
Yeah, very, very indie. I mean, it still has that very indie feel, but they just have a big budget to play with, which is awesome. And I feel like everything they do, other than Nerf and Gauntlets, is just, it's always the right move. Like, whenever they came up with the genius idea of adding the viewership rewards to the even the dev streams, but the tournament streams. And now we're in the tens of thousands of viewers every tournament. A lot of those are just because people want to watch, or they want the items for the viewership rewards. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself, throwing the stream up, but that brings in so many fresh eyes.
Yeah, I would have never watched without viewership rewards, but I find myself actually watching and not just doing it for the viewership rewards.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of people like that, and then even the people who are just AFK watching are still helping, because there's going to be people just browsing on Twitch like, what is this game, and why does it have 80,000 people viewing it right now? And then they look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, this looks like Smash, but way better. And then they're right, and then they play it, and then boom, we got a new Brawlhalla fan.
So that takes me to one of my likes about it, and what I enjoy about it, and I think the viewership probably helps that, is the high population in Brawlhalla. It's you can hop on at any hour of the day, and because of how many people play it, you just find matches instantly.
Yeah, you never have to worry about setting in a long queue or anything like that.
No, and it's, you'll get stopped some matches, and you'll completely obliterate people some matches, but you never have to worry about not finding a game. And a lot of the games that I play, be it smaller fighters or Killer Queen or Mage Quit, the queue is so long, and you have to specifically say, okay, I'm gonna play to Thursday night from 6 to 9 p.m. because that's when everyone plays. But Brawlhalla, if I'm working night shift, I can come home in the morning and play it. I get off at night, hop right on, play a couple games. I'm not waiting around to play my game.
Absolutely. Now, here's one of my favorite things. So I am what some people will call a whale when it comes to microtransactions, and I apologize, guys. I am sorry, but I am a sucker to the system.
You and me both.
Ever since I saw that horse armor in Oblivion, it couldn't be helped. And a history lesson, that was one of the first microtransactions. Cosmetic horse armor for a horse in Oblivion.
Wow.
But anyway, so give you an example. Like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I dumped a ton of money into that game. Reason being, they put anime girls on the sides of guns. And I was like, oh, it's game over. Take all my money. But it was, let's say, $20 for a new outfit for a character, 2 gun skins, and an emblem, and something else. A lot of money for not a lot of stuff. And then, like, the unfortunate thing about it was, let's say you don't have XYZ gun unlocked, and you buy that blueprint for $20. Well, you can use that blueprint, but you can't edit it until you unlock the gun and then level up the gun. Then you can change it around. Now, same thing with, like, Destiny, for example. What I don't like about it is, I mean, this could be a whole 7 podcasts in itself, because nobody that plays Destiny likes Eververse, which is their microtransaction thing. Everyone thinks it's ruined the game. But the unfortunate thing about it is the way that everything's priced. You can't just spend $5 to get that weapon skin you want. So you have to spend $10 or $15, use a fraction of that to get the one item you want. Now you've got leftover that can't really buy anything. So then you end up having to spend more money to be able to spend what you've already bought. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
Like if it gives...
They're trying to con you into spending more money.
Exactly. Let's say $20 or $10 gets you 1,000 currency. Then you spend 700 currency on a weapon skin, and then you're like, I've got 200 or 300 left over. That won't buy me anything. Oh, but if I spend another $20, it'd let me buy this.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of that. But the microtransaction in Brawlhalla is fantastic. A, because it's a free game, and that's the only game that really should have microtransactions. Right. And the way that they have a set rotation for the legends, and then you can buy each one of those legends as a permanent unlock that you can play at any time with in-game currency. Fantastic. But if you want to spend, I don't know, what is it, $20 to unlock 45 legends, 46 legends, something like that? That's an insane value.
And all future legends.
And all future legends. That's a huge one. Apex Legends, learn. I paid like, I can't even remember how much. It was like $30 or $40 to unlock all the current legends of Apex. And then when they release a new one, it doesn't give it to me automatically.
Yeah,
absurd.
There's a couple of other games that do that. That do the Brawlhalla method of unlocking all future legends. Smite does that, and it's just like it's such a small investment for a game, but you're supporting the devs. And the way because this is probably I spend a lot of money on Smite. I've probably spent just as much money on Brawlhalla. It's one of the most expensive free-to-play games I've ever played, but I don't feel bad about that. I look at it and I'm like, I've played this game 500 hours and I spent, $200 or whatever. Like, that's pretty cheap entertainment, realistically.
You're saying Brawlhalla is one of the most expensive free-to-play games?
For me, not in general.
I was about to say, no, that's just on us. That's the people we are.
It's you and me.
I mean, essentially what, $5 for a character skin? That's fantastic, and there's so many skins.
Well, and then with the character skin, you get 2 weapons, and then you can mix and match, and your money goes a long way.
Absolutely.
And then you really don't have to deal with leftover mammoth coins too much, because you can get an avatar for, what is it, 20 or something? And
I think it's like 30.
30, whatever it is. And then, you can use it for the event colors. And then if you want, and I think this is a great thing for fighting games in general, but the Battle Pass. The Battle Pass gives you, it ends up giving you about 200 some odd mammoth coins.
I've never bought a Battle Pass in a game that was worth as much as the Brawlhalla Battle Pass.
You get so much out of it. Your return on investment of it is so good.
However, I've also never played a Battle Pass that takes as much grinding to get through.
Yeah,
I will say that.
I don't mind the grind because it makes me play in different ways, and usually different ways that are fun.
That's fair. That is the only criticism I have of the Battle Pass is that it's kind of locked to that weekly challenge rotation. Like the weekly challenges give you a ton of experience towards the Battle Pass, the gems. But once you have all those completed, it immediately hits a wall and slows down. But not a big complaint.
No, it's minor. I would rather see a more open form Battle Pass where most of the challenges are up front, but there are weekly challenges that maybe are worth like a little bit more.
Yeah.
But instead of making okay, you have 7 challenges week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. You get, 80 challenges up front, but there's smaller challenges that are on a time scale. So, like, I have to play it, sometime this week and complete this challenge. And maybe it's worth way more, like 2 levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think your money goes a long way with Brawlhalla, and I would agree with really liking that aspect of it. One thing that I enjoy about the game is the character designs. I think they are killer. This actually sort of contradicts one of my dislikes about the game, but overall I think the diversity of character is so cool in this game. you have everything from elves to like wizards, space people, pirates,
Vampires,
vampires. They all look
Valkyries, bug cowboys,
great. Cowboy cockroaches.
stereotypical aliens, demon brides.
What do you think their like most unique character is?
Their most unique character.
Yeah,
Oh
like
my
you're
gosh.
not turning on the TV and scrolling through channels and seeing this person.
Like it's not like a stereotype, like how Barraza is essentially a Mad Max character.
Right. Do they have any?
Val's pretty unique.
I was actually looking at Val. She got like that sort of like radioactive symbol on her. She's kind of like a. I don't even know any of the lore.
Kai is pretty unique.
Yeah,
I
Kai
would
is
say.
cool.
Zariel's pretty unique.
Yep. I would actually agree with all of those. I think Scarlet's kind of cool, to be quite honest.
And then their best legend that had no inspiration at all, Petra.
Yeah, totally no inspiration at all.
Yeah.
You got robots. Man, this is a cool game. This is why we're making a podcast about it. Anyways,
Exactly.
I don't have much to say about that other than their character diversity and design is great.
I do have one thing that is both a like and a dislike.
Okay.
I love how often and how many times the diversity of the crossovers we get, but I have yet to been hit with a crossover that I wanted to buy.
Yeah, I was very close on WWE because I was a huge fan. You know, I'm still a fan of wrestling in general. I just don't keep up with it. But it wasn't quite enough to make me buy.
Yeah, I don't really care too much about WWE at all. I almost bought the Asuka skin just because the signatures are really cool.
Yeah.
But Steven Universe, I've never cared for. Ben 10, never cared for. But here's the thing. Those have huge fan bases, and I run into those crossovers all the time.
I completely understand why they do it, and I think it's a very smart move for them.
The Walking Dead, also a very cool and unique crossover. I like that a lot. I've not bought one, but still, very cool and unique.
So I'm going to get into one of my dislikes there because it irritates me to no belief. Rayman as a core character and not a crossover. Why?
Oh, I think he was pretty well before crossovers were a thing, though, right?
Yeah, he was probably before any of the crossovers. But did they do it? Did they do it with the Rayman crossover? Did they like release Rayman?
Sure.
I'm not sure either. I just you took such a cool weapon combination and you gave it to Rayman, and it's so rage-inducing fighting Rayman. And it makes me. It should make you more sad than it makes me sad, but.
It makes me sad because Rayman's not fun to play for me. Like, I don't like his signatures at all. But that Gauntlet and Axe combo is just godlike. But here's the worst part. Every time I play a Rayman, I feel like I'm so much better than you at this game, but you're still beating me because you're playing Rayman. And it's just like, you're not good at Gauntlets and you're not good at Axe.
Okay, so
realistically they are, but I just get so mad playing Rayman.
This is a weird ask, but if they made a crossover and they did a crossover of Rayman, so they made a crossover legend that had axe and gauntlet weapons, and the signatures were cool, would you play that character?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it goes back to it being Rayman.
Yeah, I've also never played a Rayman game.
See, I haven't. I've played little bits and pieces of it, but never enough to like. Of the 2D, 3D platform characters, he's the least interesting. He's probably less interesting than like Gex or something like that from the PS1 days.
I bet that if I played a Rayman game as a kid, I'd probably be all over playing Rayman. But I did not. So
yeah,
here we are.
Me either. Anyways, that was one of my dislikes off the board. You got any more specific likes you want to talk about? I got two.
It's hard to narrow down things that I like because there's just so many of them.
Yeah, I was actually, pondering what I was going to talk about for this game, and I just had so many likes, and it took me a lot to come up with dislikes.
Oh, I've got a good one.
Go for it.
The ranked store. The fact that you can get... Now, I know neither of us necessarily like the way that the Goldforged or Skyforged weapons look, but the colors, being able to get these elite colors for playing so much ranked.
Yeah, it incentivizes me to play ranked quite a bit.
That's kind of another portion of what I said earlier, but the amount of stuff you can unlock yourself versus pay for, it's a very well balanced amount. I kind of butchered that sentence, but it's very well balanced, the stuff that you can earn in game versus the stuff you pay for.
Yeah, I think as far as a free-to-play game goes, this game has a lot of life to it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the only thing I'd like to see is maybe like some free-to-play podiums or KO effects that you can earn.
Yeah, even just small ones, maybe just like a slight modification to the basics would be great.
Yeah, but
they
very small complaint.
Yeah, they don't even have like any ranked rewards. A ranked KO effect would be cool.
That would be very cool.
The two others that I have, not much to really say about them. I really enjoy that this game has a low skill floor and a high skill ceiling. It gives it a lot of life, and I feel like you'll be as good as the time you put into the game, as long as you do it in a targeted effort. You can start day one and you can have fun because it's a pretty easy game to play. But for me, I'm coming up on a year in this game, and I'm still learning new things, and I'm nowhere near the peak level that I could be.
That's fair. I would argue that I've been playing this game for a hot minute and I've not got out of gold. But
it was.
But I completely agree.
For me to get to platinum, it was I studied myself a little bit, and then I also have more of a background with fighting games than you do, so I think that helped me quite a bit.
That's also true. But kind of to play into that, one thing that I really like is whenever there are things that you can abuse in video games, like in Destiny, stasis, or like just cheesy weapons like shotguns that really need nerfed, and like abusing the meta. It's like you can abuse the meta, or you can abuse something in the game as a bad player and do well. Whenever you put that in the hands of a good player and they abuse it, they're even better. Yeah. But in Brawlhalla's case, low gold and low plat, or I'm slipping all over myself here. Low gold to low plat, you see a lot of stuff like lance spam, and you can get away with it. But whenever you get higher in those skill tiers, you don't see people spamming lance. Because people learn to adapt and overcome it. Versus in a lot of games, things that get abused just can't really be overcome, which is why they're abused. But in this game, things are really only abused in those low tiers. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense at all?
No, it does. And that goes for a lot of fighting games. Cheesy stuff is cheesy until you figure out how to beat it. That's why we say stay free. If you're getting beat by cheesy stuff, just stay free. Either stay free or figure it out.
Just figure it out.
The last thing I'll say, and this is probably the biggest one for me and why I enjoy this game so much, is the rollback netcode. And you may not understand this as much since you haven't played many fighters, but delay-based netcode was the de facto for a long time. And for anyone not listening, for anyone that's not aware, basically delay-based is when you press a button, it doesn't come out till a certain amount of frames later based on the latency in the game, which it makes it feel like you're playing in mud. With rollback, you're playing live, but if something happens with the ping and whatnot, there's plenty of good videos you can watch that explain this way better than I do, but something happens that the connection doesn't agree on, it rolls it back to a certain state, and you restart there.
So that kind of makes... So that's why, for the most part, unless it's just a really bad connection, everything feels pretty fluid. It feels like I'm I wouldn't say it feels like I'm playing on land, but it's pretty dang close.
Yes, that's
And then
why.
occasionally you get those rollbacks where I absolutely just hit this guy with a gadget, and I hear the noise go off. I hear the kaboom, and then it just like glitches for a second. Bomb goes right by him, and I see the dodge animation.
Yep.
So, okay, that makes sense.
It plays buttery smooth until that point.
That is really interesting.
So what's happening in the fighting game community right now is a lot of developers are starting to embrace rollback, largely because of the pandemic and, people not being able to play locally. So you're seeing this change, and Brawlhalla was well ahead of the curve. I'll talk about something kind of like this in my dislike as well, but Brawlhalla has rollback netcode, and now you're seeing these other games embrace rollback netcode. For instance, Rivals of Aether, are you aware of that game?
Not at all.
It's another platform fighter in the vein of Smash Bros. They're working on a rollback patch. I think it's supposed to come out sometime this summer. Smash Bros will probably never get rollback, but there's a reason it's just miserable to play online, and that's why you have people playing it locally. But yeah, the rollback netcode in this game is solid. One of my scrim partners is from Europe, and it doesn't play perfectly, but it's better than 90% of other games out there.
Yeah, I mean, even whenever I would play with Safe for a while, there was something weird where, like, if we played US East, it was a little laggy for him, but if we played like a European server, it felt just fine to me.
And that probably goes into, maybe Safe was on Wi-Fi or whatever, and that's why it worked well for him. Are you plugged in?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so I that also takes me to one of my dislikes, is that the fact that there's a ton of Wi-Fi players.
That's fair.
And I think that's because of the large variety of platforms that it's on and just the target demographic. The rule of the land in fighting games is you play wired, and I don't feel like Brawlhalla players follow that rule.
All right. Well, you had some dislikes left over, right?
So yeah, the Wi-Fi one's a big one. Probably my biggest dislike about this game is, and this is not even about the game but about the community, is a lack of offline representation. I live around a pretty big city, and I can't find local events to go to that feature Brawlhalla.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair complaint. I haven't done LAN tournaments since the Halo days, and that was
disconnect on me?
Almost a decade ago.
Oh no.
What?
Rocks?
Yep.
Yeah, there.
I'm here.
That's weird. I can't hear you.
You still can't hear me?
Oh, now I can. Whoa. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I
We're
can hear
leaving
you.
that in, by the way.
Yo.
We're leaving that in. We're leaving that in. But anyway, I was panicking because I thought your Audacity crashed or something, and
I don't know
we
what
were gonna
happened.
lose all that.
I just couldn't hear you.
But anyway, I've not actually sought out a LAN tournament since the Halo days, and that's been a decade ago. So that's not really something that I run into, but it's one of those things where if it doesn't exist, I'm not really going to look for it, considering I live where I live. And but if one popped up, I would absolutely be all over it.
Yeah, it's not a big dislike about it, and like I said, I had to really struggle to think about things that I dislike about this game, and I think it goes to show you how great the game actually is. I would love to go play offline and just trash talk some kids as I completely stomp them with Yumigo, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility. So that's one of my big dislikes. The overall look of the game, I think it leaves something to be desired. It looks like a Flash and mobile game that was turned into a computer game because it had a high population.
See, well, I can kind of see that, but at the same time, that's like one of the things, the art style and just the simplicity of it is what I admire so much about the game. Because, like, man, I cannot stand Smash. There's too much going on. Everything's 3D and it just pops out at you too much. And it's just like, it is an eyesore to look at. So the simplicity of this game is something that I really admire.
Yeah, and again, it's not a big dislike. I've talked to a couple people and tried to get them into it, and it's a slight turnoff for them. I think that concludes all my dislikes. It just goes to show you that this game it's got a little bit of something for everyone, and you know, take it for what it's worth. But it's a good game.
There's really not a lot to complain about.
No, and I think if I had to describe it to someone that has not played fighting games, has not played Smash, it's the best experience you can get for $0.
I 100% agree.
Do you play any other free-to-play games, or have you played any other free-to-play games that you've spent this much money on?
I mean, if you want to get technical, Call of Duty Warzone is free. Which,
yeah, but you
so I
probably
played
bought
Modern Warfare, spent a bunch of money on it. Then Warzone came out, so I played it even more, and then I spent more money on it to use in Warzone. So if you want to get technical, probably that, or on top of that, Destiny's free. I've also spent. Actually, I'd say I'd probably spent way more on Destiny than Brawlhalla.
Yeah, but it wasn't originally a free game.
That's true. Well, I didn't start playing it until it was free.
Oh,
but
okay.
the thing about Brawlhalla is I've never bought something and thought, should I have spent that money? Or before I buy something, should I spend this money? I'm just like, oh, new skin. Oh, finally that chest is in that I want to spend a bit of money on to try to get those cool skins, those exclusives. And then also, I don't feel good about giving Bungie money. I definitely don't feel good about giving Activision Blizzard money. Brawlhalla, listen, BMG can take all of my money. I do not care.
No, it's a small team. They really, truly care about their players. They care about their fan base. And it shows in their product.
If I could somehow set up a way for money to come auto-deduct out of my paychecks that will get divvied up to all the game devs at BMG, I would say yes.
Give us that BMG crypto. That's all we need.
Yes. When is BMG going to be public? I'm betting about all the stock.
That's a good question. You could go buy Ubisoft stock. Ugh. Never.
Yeah.
All right.
So
that takes.
I was about to say we're sitting at an hour and 13 minutes or so right now.
I think we had some good discussions.
I do too. Here's something that I want you to remind me of next episode. In the first episode, I brought up that there was one other fighting game that I got into heavily, not because I wanted to, but just kind of remind me of that, the other fighting game that I played. And I'll remember the story, and I'll remember to tell it.
God, you're going to tell me you played Naruto Storm or something like that.
No, but the other thing that I wanted to get to in this podcast, but I was like, I don't know, this is a big topic. I don't really want to spring it on you, but what are some crossovers you'd like to see in Brawlhalla?
Yes.
Because I've got some legitimate, like completely doable, like realistic, fantastic crossover ideas.
Okay. All right. I'll think of some. I think it's going to be it sounds like it might be a aesthetic, cosmetic, and crossover episode, huh?
Oh my gosh, are we doing a fashion episode?
A fashion episode might be happening already.
All right, that's fair. I mean, that's our guilty pleasure. So I say two legitimate episodes unlocks us being able to do a fashion episode.
All right, I'm down with that. So I'll remind you of this fighting game you got to tell me about that you played, and then we'll get into some crossovers and some cosmetics talk. For anyone out there who has any questions for us, has any questions about us, has any questions about the game, drop them in the comments. or tweet the Twitter, or however that works. I'm not a Twitter lover myself, but just get your questions to us. We'll try to answer them next podcast.
Absolutely. And then one other thing that I was going to bring up is if you could be so kind as to follow us on Twitter at gravitycancel_. I've already messed up.
Oh my god.
At gravity_cancel on Twitter. I'm going to tweet out a Discord link here shortly. It might be a little too late in the night to do it, but I'll do it anyway, and I'll pin it to the profile. That way you can join our Discord, and you can actually listen to us record these live, which is what we're currently doing. And I see Zesty in here listening in. And you can listen to the podcast live and send us. Hopefully, eventually, we can get to the point where we've got quite a few people in, and you can actually send messages in a chat format that we can kind of discuss live on the podcast.
Oh, that would be so cool! Shout out to Zesty for listening to this one.
Heck yeah, Zesty the man.
Much appreciated. I don't know too many of your people in your Discord.
Oh, we're all Destiny players.
Yeah, I'm getting to know you. Really enjoying it. The artist, what is it, Illumi? Is that correct?
Yep, absolute Chad.
Yeah, these guys are great. Highly recommend coming and hanging out with us. We'll play some games sometime. Who knows? You know, it's a good time around here. But that'll do it for episode 2 of the Gravity Cancel podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a blast.
Bye.
Oh, that was the worst outro.